The night before had been particularly busy and late. I barely remember falling asleep. I was that tired from working. Now, living in a place many call paradise, one might think one could sleep in, especially on the weekend. They would be wrong. You see, even in paradise, that peaceful morning calm and serenity can be shattered by, I'll just say, someone who likes to disturb the peace. And today, it was no different. They decided before sunrise to run old, loud, unmaintained lawn machinery. While I can respect getting work done early, there are only the limits to when these activities can take place, for good reason, to protect the peace. But do they care about law and order? No. And so I pick my battles. Having had to deal with a murderer and drug dealer set up next door last year, this is tame in comparison. So, I get in the Ferrari and drive around paradise to remind me why, even with a bad apple here and there, paradise is still paradise. As I watched the sunrise, thoughts of a case I was trying to solve were rising in my mind. How was I going to accomplish this? It really should have been simple, but no matter which angle I approached it from, it turned out to be a dead end. There were so many red herrings. I wasn't making the progress I needed to, and time was running out. My client was counting on me, and well, I was counting on the paycheck. Funny the things a grown man will do for a living, but I've done funny.
Is a high-level arms dealer with ties to the deep state and involved with destabilizing regions of peace. You are permitted to use discretionary methods to gather information, and if required for successful exfil, lethal force.
Tomorrow. That was what I needed to have the questions answered. But the closer I got, the farther I seemed to be away from having the answers. Why was this one so tough to solve? What was I missing? There was the big picture players, the interests that had been here for a few years now, entrenched in the island. They had their hands in several enterprises. Then there were the newcomers. Just small-time outfits vying for their piece of the pie. Was one of them involved? Were they all involved? The pieces to this puzzle didn't make any more sense now than it had the day I took the case. May was the close friend. Why did my gut feel funny about the way they acted? I couldn't put my finger on it. She seemed so eager to help, but every time she was so eager to chime in with information, that information only seemed to confuse things even more. Maybe it was just losing my edge here. Maybe I needed a break. Well, I know I needed a break, but that wasn't in the cards just yet. The great thing about living in paradise, I only need to look around and be reminded, even when faced with a problem, I live in the place everyone else comes to get their break. The trees, the sky, the ocean, the waves breaking against the shore. Maybe that was it. I needed to break something. I'd been so concerned about not breaking the fragile complexities I'd been warned about. I think it was time I broke something, to get the water flowing. I needed to meet with my client one more time. My gut was telling me I was onto something now. If we broke this together, I'd be able to see the pieces more clearly and get this puzzle making sense once and for all. As much as I wanted to solve this myself, I realized I still needed those pieces, those shards of information that could only come from my client. If we cracked this together, maybe the pieces would finally fall into place. But I had to do it without the friend. No more helpful confusion, no more muddy waters. Just me, the client, and the truth. Maybe then I'd get a little peace and quiet.